Hello guys and welcome to the channel. In this video, I would like to show you how to create bootable USB drive with any ISO without having to reformat your USB drive every time you've create another live boot USB drive. This is going to be very simple. We're only going to need one USB drive, the ISO image that you have downloaded from any trusted website. And actually you can create multiple bootable ISOs on a single USB drive, which is going to be super helpful. And another great feature is that you can still use this USB drive after it will have a bootable ISO on it. So it is super simple. All right, let's do that. So before I have showed how to create a bootable USB drive with Rufus, which is a really sophisticated program. There is lots of options, lots of features. So you can basically create a live USB drive for any computer that it will boot on any system. Then there is also Balena Etcher that I showed, which is very minimalistic. It has only a few buttons, but it also makes great live boot USB drives, though sometimes it may not work on all systems. Today I'm going to show you a third method, and I think this is one of the most preferable methods, and you're going to find out why. It is called Ventoy. It is a program that is designed to create bootable USB drives, but unlike other flashing apps, all you have to do is simply copy the ISO image onto this USB drive, and it will boot on any computer. So I think this is super handy. And by the way, you can put multiple ISOs on it so that it works like all-in-one multi-boot USB drive. Just think about having different operating systems on one USB drive. I think this is pretty cool, especially if you want to try them all out and you're not sure which one you're going to install on your computer. Before installing it on the computer, just copy all the images to the single USB drive, try them all out, find the best one, and then you can install it on the computer. Let me show you how to do that. Well, first thing first, we need to download the program from the official website. You want to make sure to download it from official website and not any third-party sources, because then you don't know if it has been modified or if there might be any malware or anything added to the code. So we want to make sure we download it from the official website or from any trusted sources that you know. So open up any browser and go to the ventoy.net. That is an official website. And it says Ventoy is an open source tool to create bootable USB drive for ISO files and some other files as well, which is really great. And with Ventoy, you don't need to format the disk over and over, which is great because Balena Etcher and Rufus, they require to format the USB drive each time, which may not be very convenient. Plus, after you flash the Linux ISO on it, the USB drive becomes unusable in Windows, so you cannot use it. But with Ventoy, you just simply need to copy the ISO file to the USB drive and boot them directly. This is awesome. And they say you can copy as many files at a time, and it will give you a boot menu to select them. Just like that. As you can see, it even works with Windows and Linux. You can have multiple operating systems like Ubuntu, CentOS, Windows, Arch Linux, and they all will be on the USB drive. Wow, that's great. Actually, this is way better than flashing the ISO onto the USB drive. It also allows you to browse ISO and other files in local disks to boot them. It works with legacy BIOS, 32 UEFI, 64 UEFI, and ARM systems. That's so good. It supports most of the OS, Windows, WinPE, Linux, Chrome OS, Unix, and other. So it is actually a very, very good program. Let's go ahead and download it. Click on the downloads link. And because we're using Windows, we're going to download one for Windows. Click on it and choose download latest version, Ventoy 1.099 Windows zip. Save it to the downloads. Then go to the downloads folder. And you need to unzip it because it's an archive. Just right click. I'm using 7-zip. It's a free program. And extract files. Press OK. After the ISO has been downloaded from the trusted source, there is still a chance that the file might get corrupted during the download. That's why we gotta perform integrity check, which is called SHA-256 checksum, and it only takes a minute. Let's go ahead and do that. For that, just open File Explorer in Windows if you're using Windows 10 or Windows 11. Then find the download folder. As you can see, it is this one right here. Then hold shift and right click. It's going to bring up the context menu. You got to choose open PowerShell window here. It's going to bring us this power window and type cert util space dash hash file and open the downloads folder. Copy the archive name, then space, right click, space SHA-256 and press enter. There we go. And now we can compare it to the SHA checksum that is on the website. So we got 57899, yep, and then EA00C. Yeah, looks good. After we have downloaded this app and performed the integrity check, we can either install it, or if we have downloaded the portable version, we can just start it and simply copy the desired ISO onto the USB drive. Let's go to the downloads bin, click on this Ventoy 2 disk, insert a USB drive with at least 8 GB space, but of course you can use any larger one as well. I have a 64 GB that I'm going to use. There is no other one that I could find, so I'm going to use the 64 GB USB drive. When you see the status ready, just click install. And it says the device will be formatted and all the data will be lost. So make sure there is no important files on this USB drive before you continue. After that, press OK. And it warns you once more. So this is very important. If you have skipped first one and just pressed yes, just make sure that there is no important files and this USB drive is ready to be formatted and all the files will be erased. Then press yes. Alright, so congratulations. Ventoy has been successfully installed to the device. Press OK. And it has opened us the USB drive where we simply need to copy the ISO file. So all you need to do, just simply choose the ISO file, right click on it, select copy, then go to the Ventoy USB drive, right click, select paste, and simply copy the ISO file onto the USB drive. You can do it for as many ISO files as you wish. The only limiting would be the capacity of the USB drive itself. If you have a pretty large USB drive, you can copy quite a few ISOs if you need to. For example, for this demonstration, I have decided to try out a few different Linux distributions as well as some Windows. So I'm going to try Fossa Pop Linux. This is a very lightweight Linux distribution. Then we're going to try Linux Lite, another lightweight Linux distribution. Then of course our favorite Linux Mint 22 Cinnamon. Then Nobara 41 Linux. By the way, if you want to know how to install Nobara Linux, Linux Mint, Pop OS, or other operating systems on your computer, I have a separate video for each one of these operating systems. I'm going to put a link in the description, so check them out if you're interested. This will be full step-by-step guides for the beginners, so I'm sure you're going to find them helpful. Then we will also try Pop OS, then Cubes OS, Simple Linux, Tails, Ubuntu, and a few of the Windows ISOs. We'll start with the Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11, and even Windows XP. See if they will work or not. Alright, the USB stick is packed with ISOs. Let's go ahead and try them out. After the ISO has been copied, we can simply plug it into the target computer where we want to install the operating system or simply try it out and then start the computer. To access the boot menu, press the designated key for your system. Usually it is like F8, F12. I'm going to put a whole list of all possible keys for any manufacturer. So just press the key that is designed for your system. Press it multiple times to enter the boot device menu. From the boot menu, select the USB drive with the copied ISOs on it. There we go. Ventoy has started. You should see a menu like this. As you can see, here are all the ISOs that we have copied to this USB drive. You can just select any ISO to boot from, and it will start loading that operating system. And we're going to try them out today. Just a quick tip for you guys. If for some reason you don't see this menu, you might have secure boot enabled. you might need to disable it because it might interfere from starting this USB drive. So if you don't see this menu, make sure to go into the BIOS or UEFI settings and disable the secure boot. I have a separate video how to do it on both the legacy BIOS systems as well as the new UEFI systems. I'm going to put a link in the description, so check it out if you need to know how to do that. I'm not going to show it in this video, but if you need to know how to do that, follow through the link in the description. Alright, let's continue. Let's try out the first one, FOSSA Pop. Press enter to select it. Then you can choose to boot in the normal mode or boot in GRUB2 mode. The normal mode is the default boot option. This is the standard Ventoy mode where it directly uses its built-in bootloader to boot ISO files. Ventoy mounts the ISO file in the way that mimics a virtual CD/DVD drive. The operating system being booted interacts with this mounted ISO as if it were booting from a real disk. It works with most operating systems that support standard booting methods such as legacy BIOS and UEFI, and it is recommended for general use unless you face issues. You can also use alternative boot method. Ventoy uses the GRUB2 bootloader to handle the ISO file instead of its default mechanism. GRUB2 provides more flexibility for booting certain operating systems or custom setups that may not work properly in normal mode. It might help with booting ISOs that require specific GRUB2 features or have compatibility issues in normal mode. So if an ISO fails to boot in normal mode, try GRUB2 mode to resolve the issue. It is particularly useful for specialized and non-standard ISO files that depend on GRUB2 features. But we're gonna try the normal mode first. Well, it did start the GRUB, and you can see the FOSSA Pop GRUB menu is active. Let's go ahead and choose the first option, FOSSA Pop 64 9.5. And yeah, as you see, something went wrong and it doesn't want to continue booting. So we might need to try the GRUB2, see if it's going to help. But in the normal mode, it doesn't want to load. Okay, let's go ahead and try to boot it in GRUB2 mode. See if that's going to help. Choose FOSSA Pop 64 9.5. So it starts to load. And yeah, as you can see, it still doesn't work. Anyway, let's go ahead and try out the other distribution. Let's go ahead and try out Linux Lite, see if it's going to work. We're going to boot in normal mode as well. And it says no bootable found for UEFI, so something's not working also. Give it one more try in the GRUB2 mode. And yeah, it also says no bootable found for UEFI. Now let's go ahead and try out our favorite Linux Mint 22 Cinnamon. See if it's going to work. I will boot it in normal mode. So just choose Start Linux Mint 22 Cinnamon. And yeah, as you can see, everything is working flawlessly, just like a regular live boot Linux Mint, running from the USB stick. So no need to use Balena Etcher. You can just use Ventoy for that. So Linux Mint is working no problem. Let's go ahead and try out the next system. Next, let's go ahead and try Nobara 41 Linux distribution. I'm also going to try it in the normal mode. And yeah, look at that. Everything is working perfectly. This is our installer, but we can use it just like a regular live boot USB. As you can see, everything is working. So Nobara Linux is working just like Linux Mint. Everything is functional. So it works great with Ventoy. By the way, I have just posted a new video about Nobara Linux, how to install it step by step for the beginners. If you're interested, you can go ahead and check it out. It's a full, easy to follow, comprehensive guide. So check it out if you're interested. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and try out the next operating system. And that is going to be Pop OS. It is another very interesting, very popular operating system designed with content creators in mind. So let's see if it's going to work in the normal mode. Yep, there we go. Everything is working. We can try out Pop! OS just like a regular live USB. And as you can see, everything is functional. So Ventoy works with Pop! OS no problem. Just copy it on the USB drive and it will load no problem. This is good news. No need to use Rufus or Balena Etcher. Just use Ventoy for all of them. All right, let's continue on and try out another operating system. This is Cubes OS. It is very interesting Linux distribution. It is more like for super safe and privacy oriented operating system. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any live boot environment, so there is only installation. You can only install it and after that you can use it. We'll just choose test media and install Cubes OS. And yeah, as you can see, the CubesOS installer is working fine, so we can just go through all the prompts and install CubesOS if we want to. But since this is just a testing, we're not gonna do that, and I'm just gonna quit the installer. But anyway, it's working. So CubesOS works great with Ventoy. Let's go ahead and try the next operating system. Next, let's go ahead and try Simple Linux. It's another very efficient Linux distribution. And yeah, as you can see, it works in a normal boot mode and unfortunately it doesn't have the live boot environment. You have to install it permanently before you can try it out. I think this is a downside for such operating system. But anyway, it's working and you can use Ventoy to install simple Linux on your computer. So let's go ahead and try the next operating system. The next one's gonna be a security special, the most confident and most secure Linux distribution, Tails OS. Actually, I'm thinking to make another video about it, so stay tuned for the next video. Let's go ahead and try if it will work with Ventoy. There we go, Tails OS has started. And look at that. It looks like it's taking you back to the early 2000s, how the operating system used to look like. It's very minimalistic and it's probably one of the safest operating systems in the world. It has everything you need. It has a Tor browser, it has a KeePass password manager app. So it is very security oriented and safe to use operating system with very minimalistic design and nothing more. Okay, let's go ahead and try out the number one most popular Linux distribution, which is Ubuntu. See the GRUB menu has started. And yeah, as you can see, everything is loading. And Ubuntu works no problem, just like Linux Mint, Nobara 41, and other Linux distribution. So we're getting quite a few of them working already. The first two didn't work, but these ones working no problem. As you can see, everything is functional, just like a normal live boot USB drive. Alright, that's it for the Linux. Let's go ahead and try Windows ISO, see if they're gonna start on Ventoy. Okay, let's go ahead and try the oldest Windows that I have found, which is Windows XP. And unfortunately, it says no bootable found for UEFI. So it's just like those first two Linux distributions. Doesn't want to start using Ventoy. So you would have to use Rufus to actually flash it onto the USB drive, and then it should work. Okay, let's go ahead and try the legendary Windows 7, see if it will work. No, unfortunately, it doesn't work. There's something going on there, but it doesn't want to start, and it just takes you back to the Ventoy main menu. So, yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't work. Let's go ahead and try Windows 10. And yeah, Windows 10 works no problem. The installer has started, so you can install Windows 10 on any computer using Ventoy. Let's go ahead and try Windows 11 in the normal mode. And it seems like it starts to load something, and you can even see this blue screen, but there's nothing on the screen, and it doesn't continue on, and eventually it just shuts down. So I think it's a no-go. You would actually need to flash the ISO onto the USB drive using special tools, Rufus or other flashing tools. Let's try to boot it in the WinBoot mode, and you can see that it's loading files. It's the Ventoy WinBoot. But after it's been loaded, there is a mistake. It's failed to load. So yeah, there's some mistake. Not sure what that means. It's probably fixable, but I don't know how to fix it at the moment. So yeah, we're not gonna try to figure it out. So what can I say? Ventoy is a really great piece of software that allows you to create live boot without having to format the USB drive and flash the ISOs over and over again when you need to try a new one. So out of 9 Linux distributions that I have tried, 7 of them worked, 2 of them didn't work, and out of 4 Windows ISOs, only 1 worked. So I think for Windows it's not very good, but for any Linux distribution, I think it is like 90% chance it will work. And like they say on the website, they have tested over 1200 different images. So of course, we're not going to test all 1200 of them, but like you see, I have tested 9 and only 2 of them didn't work. So yeah, that's a pretty good result, especially meaning that you don't have to use a separate USB drive for each one of them. Well, this is it. I think this is really great and worth knowing that there is such an app that you can use to create bootable USB drives with just a few clicks, and you can create multiple live boot systems on a single USB drive, which is super great. I hope you find this video helpful. If you like it, please support it with a like. If you're first time to the channel, make sure to click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new upcoming Linux videos. If you have comments, questions, suggestions, drop them down in the comment section below. If you want to learn more about Linux, I already have quite a few videos on my channel, so make sure to check out my Linux playlist. There you're going to find a lot of helpful videos, tips, tutorials, how to make your Linux Mint experience smoother and improve your workflow. And also, if you like my content and like what I'm doing, you can support my channel by using super thanks or checking the support links in the description. I appreciate it very much, but this is it for today. I hope you have a nice day. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.